In this video, I'm going to be providing you with an overview of the timing on the ACT math section, as well as going over a few quick tips to help you maximize your time on this section. Let's go ahead and get started by reviewing the format of the ACT math section. In this section, you are going to have 60 questions and you will have 60 minutes, which means you will have an average of 1 minute per question. Now, please note that I said you will have an average of 1 minute per question. That's really important to note because questions on the ACT math section do get harder as the section progresses. So you really want to be moving quicker through those early questions so you can slow down a bit at the end. You don't want to be taking a minute per question on the early questions. You really want to be going faster through those. So a good timetable to have memorized to help you stay on pace for the math section is to be at question 20, 12 minutes in, question 40, 30 minutes in. So notice you want to be at question 40 at the halfway mark, and then you want to be at question 60, 55 minutes in. That leaves you an extra 5 minutes to go back to any problems that you weren't entirely confident on or kind of wanted to check over once more. All right, let's go through a few quick timing tips to help you maximize your time on this section. The first tip is to bubble an entire page at one time. A lot of people will bubble or will solve one problem and then bubble that problem on their bubble sheet. But a better way or a more efficient way to do this is to go through and solve every problem on one page in your test booklet. Circle all of the answers in the test booklet and then turn to your bubble sheet and go ahead and copy the answers that you'd circled in your booklet. And this prevents from you having to flip back and forth between your test booklet and your answer document or your bubble sheet. It may seem like a small amount of time that you're spending flipping back and forth, but it really does start to add up when you're doing it 60 times in the section. So that's a good tip to help you save some time really easily. Another tip is to start at the beginning. Some students prefer to start at the end of the math section because the questions are harder, so they prefer to start at the end and work backwards. The issue with this is that if you do end up running out of time, you didn't ever get a chance to answer those easier questions that are at the beginning. Most people find that they get more questions right at the beginning of the test than they do at the end. And like I said, that's just because the questions at the beginning are easier. So it's a good idea to start at the beginning and make sure that you get some of those easy points early on before progressing to the more difficult questions. And then the last tip is to not spend more than 2 minutes on a difficult problem. Some problems on the math section can really be very time draining. And so you definitely don't want to spend more than 2 minutes on any of those problems because it's taking away time that you could be spending on other problems. So remember that every question on the math section, regardless of how difficult it is worth the same number of points. So you don't want to forsake some of the easier points or answering some of the easier questions just to get a more difficult question. It doesn't benefit you to do that. So don't spend more than 2 minutes on a difficult problem. If you have time left over at the end, you can always come back to it. But always make sure that you have something bubbled down at the end of the section because there is no penalty for guessing on the ACT. So it is only to your benefit to have something bubbled in for every question, even if you are just guessing. All right, well, that's all the tips in this ACT math timing video. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, and comment below. Thanks.